The Crucible Theatre in Sheffield opened in 1971. It's a working theatre for 49 weeks of the year, but it takes only 8 days to transform it into a venue synonymous with a sport that returns here each spring. As dramatic art again gives way to sporting life, welcome to the 2015 Betfred World Snooker Championship. Good afternoon. We've got the supplies in and we've made camp here in Sheffield for the next 70 days for an event that never fails to capture us and to fascinate us. It takes mental stamina, it takes sheer bloody-minded determination, and it takes huge skill to land the prize here at the Crucible Theatre on May Bank Holiday Monday. But 12 months ago, Mark Selby was aiming to summon all of that and more in his capture of the title.
It is a curse, and it shows how difficult the tournament is to win when you've looked at the previous winners over the years who's won it for the first time and not defended it. So hopefully I can manage to break that record, but if not, I've had a great year and I'll definitely be going there trying. The first few tournaments and being world champion, I felt a lot of pressure because I felt as though I had to go out there and perform your A game every single time, because people will start questioning, like, why are you world champion? At the same time, going into the UK and the Masters with the arrival of Sophia as well, our first child, sort of took my mind off snooker a little bit as well, so I wasn't really putting in the work which I'd like to have put in, but at the same time I wouldn't change that. And thankfully over the season I managed to get a good couple of wins to take a little bit of pressure off going into the World this year. Out in China, the latter part of the tournament I seemed to got better as the tournament went on, so to go on and win that going into the World Championship gives you great confidence. I mean, just winning in general gives you great confidence, but winning a tournament that close to the Crucible, it couldn't have worked out better.
Well, we're off and running, and indeed this is the second of 77 programmes from the Crucible this year, and we're about to enjoy live session number 46. That's only 46 to go until we stop talking on the 4th of May, John Parrott. But John, it's 24 years since you lifted the world title here. When you look back there, apart from natural talent and skill, obviously, what did you require most of to win here?
Dogged persistence, but above all, the ability to concentrate as much as you can in every single session you play in that wonderful Crucible Theatre, but when you're away from it, to switch off, and that is a lot harder to do. You've got to conserve your mental energy. If you can switch off in between it and then come in and give everything when you're in the venue, great.
What made Mark Selby's achievement 12 months ago so admirable?
Dogged persistence. I've seen Mark Selby play better than he played in last year's World Championship, but I haven't seen anybody try as hard. There was a session there where he found himself 10-5 down, from somewhere, he dragged it from his boots the last 2 frames of that session to be 10-7. He had a good night's sleep, and the following day he came back, and did he try? He tried right to the nth degree, and he ended up getting his rewards.
It's funny, John, because this time last week we were talking about the Masters golf and how no one had won the par 3 contest and gone on to win the green jacket in the same year. Similar sort of curse going on here, because no first-time champion, as we've already seen in that piece of tape, has ever come back the next year. What makes you think Selby might be the one to break that?
I think he may be looking at that, and he'll probably be sick to the back teeth already with the media and everybody mentioning to him, no one's ever done it. If I was him, I'd be thinking that would be a goal. I would be thinking, I want to make history here. That's what he should be doing, looking at that, forgetting all about it and thinking, that's my goal. I'm going to try and make history. And as the advert goes, I know a man who can. And if I do, it'll be Mark Selby. OK, well, it was Mark who had the great honour of, as the defending champion, starting proceedings here at 10 o'clock in the morning in the opening session. And he was playing Kurt Maflin, a 31-year-old from Oslo, born in Lewisham actually, but represents Norway. He's now a Norwegian citizen and is the first ever to do so at the Crucible. Norway, the 17th nation to be represented at the Crucible. Now, Steve Davis is over in the Winter Gardens here in Sheffield with a reminder of the significant moments from the early part of that opening session for us.
The defending champion against the rookie, Mark Selby versus Kurt Maflin. Mark Selby got off to a great start. He knocked in the first opening red and made an 84 break. How would the rookie cope with that? And he was left with a very difficult shot. Take a look at this difficult shot. Second frame, he's actually potted the black, smashed the reds up, but left himself a very awkward red into the middle pocket. That was so missable. In that goes, Kurt Maflin made a 96 break. Into frame three, all of a sudden, Kurt Maflin is off and running. Looks like he's actually going to take control of the game. This pink into the middle pocket was very gettable. Yeah, OK, he was over the top of the red. He missed that. Mark Selby capitalised with a 108 break. Mark Selby was not in complete control because all of a sudden Kurt Maflin levelled at 2-all, and after the interval, Kurt Maflin was left with perhaps the biggest decision of the match so far. Would this red go past the pink? He decided he could just get past with a bit of side, but he just clipped the pink. Just take a look at that from another angle. All of a sudden, the white boy is putting a bit of side on it. Could he get past it? He just clipped the pink. 3-2, Mark Selby. Mark Selby started to gain control of the match.
And it continued like that because Selby won frame 6 to go 4-2 in front. And we're going to rejoin them in frame 7. Remember, 9 frames in the opening part of the session to play. It's Maflin at the table. He needs a snooker here, and it's all being watched by Ken Doherty and John Virgo.
Well, he's got it, but to make it difficult, he wanted to be tight to that blue. You'd be surprised if Mark Selby didn't hit the yellow off this shot.
Yeah, you'd expect him to hit the yellow, but there's a bit of pressure on this now. Oh, wow. Always a bit of pressure when you know that you should have sealed the frame. And all of a sudden you're left with a snooker. Chance now for Kurt Maflin. OK, he's 27 behind, 27 left on the table. Needs all 6 remaining colours for a respot, but he has the chance.
And you'd be pleased to have the chance, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
When Mark Selby had that straightforward yellow, I'm certain Kurt thought that was another frame gone. This frame isn't over just yet. Here's the miss yellow. No excuse for that.
Five.
I always think the key shot when you're playing a clearance is to get good position from brown to blue. The blue's not on its spot, so there's just a little bit of control needed here. Needs a good positional shot.
Nine.
Well, it's okay. Pot the blue in the middle, play for the pink in the opposite middle.
14.
Just over screwed it slightly, but you wouldn't expect him to slip up here. Pink and black to force the respot.
20.
Mark Selby will be kicking himself. And more so, should he lose the respot. Well played. We have a respot in black.
27.
Mark Selby missed an easy yellow that I'm certain would have kept Kurt Maflin in his seat. He missed it. And that would have been the clincher, no doubt about it.
Tells.
Missed it by quite a way, really. And that's why we have a free ball. I'm sorry, a black ball respot. And Kurt Maflin has won the toss. Now everybody these days just seems to play the black on one side of the table, the white on the other side. It's exactly what Mark Selby's played, but I don't think he's played it that great, Ken.
Yeah, you could possibly play the double here, the black into the corner pocket and cue ball back up into balk. He's got a straightforward safety shot, but it's certainly worth having a go.
The only thing that I think, if you play the double and you're not hitting the black too full, can you get distance between the cue ball and the black? That would be the only thing that would enter my head. I think he's playing the double.
You see where he wanted the cue ball up into the balk, and would have loved to have it a little bit closer to the ball cushion, but still, Mark Selby can play the up and down, but he may be a bit reluctant to play the same shot that he played from the break-off, chipping the black to the left-hand side cushion, cue ball to the right-hand side cushion.
Nobody seems to like the up and down anymore, do they? No, once again.
He's left him one here, John. He's definitely left the double here. And that was always the possibility of playing that shot.
Although we always say with the double, the problem is with the double, if it doesn't go in, you don't know where the black's going to finish, but he's eyeing it up. Once again, easy safety. But it's his choice, and I think he's going for the double. This would be a blow for the world champion. And as I say, if they don't go in, you don't know where they're going to finish up. And this is a chance for Mark Selby. But it's not an easy one. He's put himself through the ringer a little bit in this frame, as Ken mentioned. He knows it should have been over, so there's a bit of pressure on this. This for 5-2. Solid and good shot, and already a bit of a fist pump there from Mark Selby. He knew the importance of that, the importance of not losing it, and he stretches his lead now to 3 frames as he leads by 5 frames to 2.
Well, this is in fact the second major event that these two have squared up against one another. A couple of weeks ago it was in the China Open in the semi-final there, and Mark Selby won the day before going on to take that title. Into the penultimate frame of this session, and it's Selby with 25 points to make up.
Didn't leave anything. Not the best safety shot there from Mark. Well, terrific pulse. Another tricky one coming up though, this yellow, but that was an excellent pot. Purposely played for the yellow. Well, looked a bit wide, but in it went.
Three.
Used all the pocket, but we've been pleased to see it drop.
Four.
Nice pot with the rest. Red passes the black into the
11.
corner pocket. So wants a nice angle when potting this red on the black. Just to stun up
12.
into the reds now and try and release a couple more. 37-point lead. Black will be 44, so another 2 and 3 reds with high value colours will be enough. It's worked out nice.
$19. $20. $24.
Not the best angle on this black. And it's not going to be that easy now to get good position on the next red. That red on the left-hand side of the table is the one that's in the open, but not guaranteed to be on that. It, as you can see, doesn't pass the pink into the middle. So played for it in the middle pocket, and
31.
I think he's played that pretty well. He's got a choice of reds. One to the left middle, one to the right middle. Quick glance at the scoreboard. He's only looking for a red and a colour to clinch this frame.
$32.
And solid enough pot. So there's pink to go 63 points in front with just 59 remaining. Just shows you how different this could have been if Kurt Maflin had won that respotted black frame, the last frame. This could have put him all square.
38.
So it's going to be a very interesting last frame coming up here.
39.
Certainly got the game, this young man. One disappointment, you could say. Well, I suppose he's long potting,
45.
but every time he's had to hit a ball with a little bit of pace, he's just been hitting across them slightly. But
46.
as I say, or I've said on numerous occasions, understandable first time here. But he's certainly got plenty of ability. And the next
53.
frame is a big one for him. If he can stay within one frame of the reigning world champion,
54.
it could be a very interesting evening. Can't make the century.
61. 62.
I like his style, though.
Yeah, he gets through the ball nice, doesn't he? Nice crisp contact with the cue ball. Gets through it nice.
70.
Yeah, and a nice pace as well, doesn't he? He doesn't overthink things.
73.
Should have made a century in the first frame. Missed a straightforward red on 96, but he won't be worried about the century. More importantly, getting another frame on the board. But so far so good. It's been a fantastic debut for Kurt Maflin.
82.
And a huge last frame for him as well, isn't it, John?
Massive.
Great shot with the pink.
88.
Holding it off 2 cushions for the black, and boy, this will make him feel good. Well played, Kurt Maflin. He won't be bothered about the cue ball going into the centre of the pocket, but a wonderful 88 break wins him the 8th frame. Cuts the deficit now to 2, but it's Mark Selby who still leads by 5 frames to 3.
And in the last of this opening session, well, no significant breaks. It was a little bitty, actually, a 20 and a 30 from Mark Selby.
6.
But that was enough to establish a 6 frames to 3 lead for the defending champion. And Kurt Maflin knows he's really going to have to rethink things in the evening, because they'll come back at 7 o'clock to finish this one off. First to 10 will be going through to round 2, seconds out. But that was a very competent and indeed a very statesmanlike start for our defending champion. It was all watched by Steve Davis. Your impressions of the defending champion this morning for us, Steve?
Well, I think Mark Selby will be delighted with his morning's work. He's a tricky opponent, Kurt Maflin, as we've already mentioned. Kurt, well, he may be disappointed, but really, you know, it's tough in that environment, so he did very well as well. But the difference between 6-3 and 5-4 may just have been that double that Kurt Maflin missed. If that goes in, he's that close at the top class level. So I don't know, everything to play for him in one respect, but you've got to say from Mark Selby's situation, a potential banana skin of a first round against a great cueist, he will be very pleased.
Yes, but also equally you have to say congratulations to Kurt Maflin, because on your Crucible debut, it was a very assured performance he had out there this morning.
Yeah, and lots of players have crumbled, and especially at the age of 31, you think, well, why hasn't a player got to the Crucible with that standard of play beforehand, and is he mentally strong enough to cope with that? He answered those questions, certainly answered those questions, and to some degree you could argue a bit unlucky to draw Mark Selby in decent form in the first round. There's a few other players, I'm sure, in this first round, in the top 16, that will look a lot more vulnerable in their opening match than Mark Selby has.
Well, one of them, actually, in mentioning that, Marco Fu, because Marco Fu, the former Grand Prix and Aussie Open champion, found himself in a little bit of difficulty this morning. He actually went 4 frames to 3 behind Jimmy Robertson, the 28-year-old from Sussex, who's appearing here for only the second time. But here is Marco finishing off with a break of 66 to win 2 frames in a row at the end of that session to take an overnight lead, and they will return in the morning with Marco 5 frames to 4 in front, and they'll finish off from 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. But you know, we've been very busy in the build-up to this year's World Championship here at the Crucible. We've been speaking to quite a lot of our snooker celebrity fans, and here's their predictions for the next 16, 17 days.
I have a sneaking little feeling about the Masters champ, Sean Murphy. I think his game is back to where it was 2 or 3 years ago. I read something about he got some new techniques, some new coach, but he seems to have confidence. So for me, he'd be a good bet.
I'm going for Neil Robertson because he's a course of distance winner.
Oh, well, I think it's easy to say Ronnie if he's in the mood for it, but I've got my eye on Judd, I think. Having just beat Ronnie in the Grand Prix, I think it opens up the World Championship.
Easy, 5 letters, starts with a T, rhymes with bump. one of my favourite players is Ronnie O'Sullivan, so let's hope he wins it.
I've got a little sneaky feeling for Sean Murphy. Just because he's playing well, I think his head is in the right place, which it's got to be in the right place at the Crucible because it's such a high-pressure environment. So I just got a little feeling for him. Be a very popular winner, I think.
I met Ronnie O'Sullivan about 15 years ago. He's always been my favourite player. He's a great entertainer, so I'm going to go for Rocket Ronnie.
I'm going to go for Ronnie O'Sullivan.
And why?
I like his name. I also know who he is.
Nice, Rebecca. And we've had a lot of fun with our celebrity snooker fans. You'll be seeing a lot more of them, and indeed you'll be seeing them wielding a cue in anger over the coming days. But we're now about to concentrate on our live play for this afternoon in the second live session here in Sheffield. And it features this man, John Higgins, a 4-time world champion, last of his 4 world titles in 2011. But would you believe that he's only won 1 match at the Crucible since that wonderful day when he won for a 4th time. Now, his record this season was pretty average, you've got to say. The best that he'd achieved was last 16 at the Australian Open, last 16 at the UK Championship, as he continued to tinker with new cues. He really was not happy, and his confidence and his ranking were definitely sinking. But look at this. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the Welsh Open. He says he found something at the Masters at Alexandra Palace. Something clicked for him, and the evidence was forthcoming at the Welsh Open, because this was a first victory in 29 months, one of the longest absences without a win in John Higgins' career. So, consequently, followed that up with a quarter-final place at the China Open a couple of weekends ago, and his confidence is surging. Would you believe the bookmakers make him 28-1 to become a very, very short price and long price favourite even to win a 5th world title? So, who's he got to play today? Well, the answer is another man whose confidence is surging. It's Rob, the milkman, Milkins from Gloucester.
So great to be in the commentary box with a couple of legends. Good to see you, chaps. And Stephen, no person better to ask to you about Scottish snooker than John Higgins. Big turnaround in his form. I didn't see him winning the tournament the way he was playing, but in the Welsh he was great.
Yeah, he's looked at times this season back to his best. He still puts in the odd miss that you don't expect now and then. This match today, you would expect Robert Milkins to suit John Higgins, because Robert Milkins makes a lot of unforced errors, but I think he's beaten him the last 2 or 3 times.
Well, I was going to say, Dennis, Robert Milkins has turned it round, hasn't he? I mean, initially John Higgins had the upper hand.
He won the first 4 matches, did John, against Robert, and he's won the last 4. Now they're 4 each, so they're evenly balanced. And he's always great to watch because he's so fast around the table. And as Stephen said, it's going to be fascinating to see how it pans out.
The thing is, though, Dennis, his match play is actually improved. That's the big thing with Robert. I know we always thought he was a little bit loose in the way he played, but his match play's got better.
Well, and he's going to be full of confidence because he beat Andrew Higgins on a deciding frame in the last qualifier, so he'll be up for this one, and he knows he can beat any of the players on his day. He's that good a player, but it all depends how he starts, I think.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot with this, but can John Higgins win another World Championship? Has he got the capabilities at his age? He's 39, nearly 40. Can he still win a World Champion?
He's got the game and the knowledge, and he's got previous here at the Crucible, which obviously counts for a lot. I think maybe he just puts in 1 or 2 misses that he never used to, that over 17 days you can't afford to do, but it'd be interesting to see how he plays in these 2 weeks, because times this season he's looked very good.
OK, boys, look forward to listening to you this afternoon. We can get the players out with Rob Walker.
Thanks, John. What an opening day we're already very much enjoying here at the Betfred World Snooker Championship. And this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, it's about to get even better. 3 world-class Scots and an Englishman rejuvenated. Sit back, relax and enjoy. This will be class. Please welcome one of Scotland's finest young prospects. He came through a tense final frame decider against Mark King to book his place here at Sheffield for the very first time. Quarter-finalist at this season's UK Championship. He is a massive talent, taking the next step here on his Crucible debut. Here he is, Anthony McGill. And his opponent, one of the most competitive, passionate players on the circuit, here making his 12th visit to the Crucible, twice a semi-finalist. Winner of 5 ranking event titles in all, victories this year at the 6 Reds in Thailand and in Lisbon. When he's good, he's on fire. Here comes Stephen Maguire. And here on table 2, what a match in prospect. This man is an aggressive break builder who has produced the best form of his career in recent seasons. 5 times a ranking event semi-finalist, 6 times a visitor to the Crucible, including that emotional win over Neil Robertson 2 years ago. He has one of the best walk-ons in snooker. He's a cider drinker. He's the milkman. He's Rob Milkins. I am the cider drinker. I drink it all out today. I am the cider drinker. It seems only troubles away. And his opponent, without doubt, one of snooker's all-time greats, making his 20th appearance here at the sport's spiritual home. After a tough 18 months on the table, he showed us he's still got the class, winning his 26th ranking title in Cardiff at the Welsh Open. 4 times a champion of the world. Here comes the Wizard of Wishaw. Here comes John Higgins.
Wonderful stuff. It's Maguire against Anthony McGill on table 2, and you can watch that on the red button or online all afternoon. We're going to concentrate on the Higgins-Milkins match. I think we're all still reeling from the surreally brilliant walk-on music from the Wurzels, and I'm going to add you straight to 2 more cider drinkers, Dennis and Stephen, or so I'm told.
How did you know that, Hazel? Very good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to the Crucible Theatre for this match, which should be fascinating. As we mentioned beforehand, played each other 8 times, and it's 4-all. Hazel was mentioning that John, after winning that world title in 2011, struggled somewhat. In fact, the following year, Stephen, you managed to beat him 13-4. Hadn't realised that. And then he lost to Mark Davis 2013 and Alan McManus 10-7 last year, so he'll be out to do a lot better this year.
Yeah, and as I said in our conversation with John Parrott, at times this season he's looked almost back to his best. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he performs this year. Yeah, sort of the 3 of the top players in the game started together. John, Mark Williams and Ronnie, and obviously Ronnie. They're all around the same age, and Ronnie's obviously been winning titles, but Mark and John have sort of slowed down a bit. Matt Williams himself has come back to form this season. John's won a tournament, so it's real interesting to see how they perform this year.
Yeah, talking about slowing down a bit, I wonder will Robert slow down a bit, because he is such a quick player when he gets going. Probably as quick as any player we've had in the game. He's up there with the Tony Dragos, but he'll not be too happy with that positional shot there. That'll slow him down a little bit.
5.
Might just be able to get through. He's having to take the slightly more difficult one, so got to be careful with the cue ball here. That was the problem there. That's the end of break.
6.
Yeah, he wanted that cue ball a lot further up the table. When you're canning into another red, you're never guaranteed to get nicely on your next colour.
I would say sort of maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 years ago, Robert Milkins from the top players would be seen as quite a good draw to have in the first round, because he used to get a lot of chances, he used to make a lot of unforced errors. His all-round game's improved a lot the last couple of seasons, as proved by going up the rankings, and I don't think he's as frightened playing the top players as he used to be. I think John will be looking forward to this World Championship a lot more than he has done the last 2 or 3 seasons. It's always nice to come to Sheffield with wins behind you. It's always nice to get your first long putt in early in the first frame. And that was nicely played.
John Higgins,
nice touch.
Yeah, it was a nice touch, because any harder and the white was in that pocket there. As it is, he's left quite a problem for Robert. He'd love to be able to land on the red that's near the black, but there's no path through to that, I don't think. So he'll have to give this a little bit of thought, because he's going to do well to get out of this situation. Okay, the black's tied up, but the pink's available. Blue's awkward. And he's going to have to play this with a bit of swerve, and not only that, he'd have to come off the top cush, catch the red thin to get back down the table. That's asking a lot. It really is. You can see where he's pointing the cue, but if he was to pull this off, it would be some safety shot. Very difficult to judge this. Well, I'll tell you what, it's not a bad effort that. There's one red that'll go up into the right corner. He can play it as a shot to nothing if he pots it. The brown's over the corner pocket. He can avoid canning into the 2 reds if he takes this on. That's if he hits it correctly. Which he did.
1.
Not the best kiss in the world. I like that shot there from side on. That showed you the white coming all the way around the table. The green will pass the brown. Oh, and he's played that well. He had to play that with a touch of left-hand side, otherwise he'd have been in the middle pocket. But look where the white's dropped.
4.
Worst possible place.
John Higgins 4.
Tapping the table from John, that was an excellent safety. These shots, just don't want to hit them thick. And did catch that a little on the thick side. That's why the cue ball hasn't reached the baulk cushion. I think he's okay.
It's gone a little bit scrappy. I mean, the reds are nicely placed, but the colours are very awkward. Only the green on its own spot. That was close, but shot to nothing. This could finish up nicely. Might be a possible shot to nothing for John to have a go at into the right corner. But can he find the gap? He might not be able to, because that red, the left side of the table, he could cannon into that if he took the pot on. So it's a slight change of plan. Needs a bit of good luck here. And it's not bad. He deserved a bit of good fortune because he picked a path for the cue ball there when he potted that red. I mean, it was tough going the other side of the table. He took the much more difficult pot, and he deserved to get on the colour there. I think everyone thought that was in the middle pocket. Oohs and ahs. But it's not good, though.
The red that he's looking at, the left cushion, as you see this cue ball almost going off. In practice, he'd probably play that and play the cannon in the red to the right of the black. But first frame in the World Championship, it's not the time to play those shots. Might hit that nicely.
6.
You can see the reaction of the cue ball when he hit the red.
Rainbow.
Obviously not an easy chance this. Sorry, Dennis, with the black being out of commission.
Yeah, he's having to work hard, isn't he? Because he's got to get back up to the ball colours again. That's a bit too pacey.
10.
Just getting used to the speed of the table. They're playing beautifully. I was watching this morning session, and tables look to be playing fabulously well. But John just hasn't quite got the pace of it yet.
Yeah, I think he felt the big bounce off the cushion there. Played for a choice of green or blue there off that red. Seemed to come off the cushion quicker than it went on. And left a possible pot now to the left centre, which I'm sure John will take on. And this time he's perfect on the blue, so this will once the blue goes back in its spot, will become a chance to win this first frame.
Six.
Would like the cue ball to have travelled a little bit further. This got to negotiate the gap to get back up for the blue here.
Seven.
Just about okay. That little flick on the red took the pace out of the cue ball, but the fact he's straight, as we show you it again, just watch, he just flicks the red. Otherwise he'd have been perfect on the blue, but because there's a red to the right of the pink spot, looks a little bit disappointed, but he should be okay. So to leave himself a medium range pot. Oh, well, he had a slight angle, so that was even better. But he's still struggling, isn't he, to get in prime position. They've got quite a bit to do with this to get around onto the blue again. I think he can swing it around the angles. As long as he misses that red left side of the table. Don't know if he can screw straight back possibly and get to the blue. Yeah, he might be able to do that. Yeah, he played that nicely. Okay, he's
30.
Once again straight on the blue. It's not an easy chance to clinch this opening frame, but
18.
as long as you keep potting them, you'll eventually cross the winning line. Don't know whether that
90.
got a heavy contact there. Looked a bit strange. Yeah, the red jumped. That's why he's nearer the cushion than he would have been. If he was behind, he might take a risk here and try and pot the red and bring the black into play, but he'll just concentrate on the blue. He wouldn't be able to get to the black from this red, but the one just to the right of the black spot. You know, if he was, say, 30 odd points behind, he'd take that and just try and flick that red away from the black. But how many shots has he played with the rest and the extension in this effort? 3 or 4 at least. Yeah, you can score enough without needing that difficult red that's tied up next to the black. Well, he's had to work his little Scottish socks off for this effort, that's for sure. He's just glanced at the scoreboard just to see exactly what he needs. If he pots the red and the blue, he'll need one more red because Robert could still tie. And the perfect angle to get onto that last red. He'll just screw the blue in, come up off the cushion and hopefully slip in behind that red that's the right side of the table.
34.
Just make sure of this now. He won't be doing anything adventurous with his shot.
That's 35.
It's been a pretty impressive first frame, though, from John Higgins. Although he's not had complete control of the cue ball. He's struck the shots well. He's put 2 or 3 good long balls.
This must be a record of how many shots he's played with that extension and the rest. Very unusual to see a player play so many shots with the extension and the rest.
41.
I think Robert, he'll not bother about any potting practice. I think he'll just sit in his seat and get on with the second frame. Well, he is coming to the table, but
John Higgins, 41.
maybe just wants a little bit of table time, but it's the first frame to John Higgins. At the moment, Robert needs 4 snookers. A red, a black and all the colours to win by 1 point. Highly unlikely. Hasn't quite got the snooker. A little bit of an edge sticking out there. Look where the white was. If he hadn't knocked the black off the spot, the red would have been over near the yellow and he'd had the snooker behind the black, but unintentional cannon into the black. And John tried to knock the yellow safe there because the yellow and black are in pretty good position for snookers. Right, 1 long pot to secure the opening frame for the former 4 times champion. Always nice to knock that type of shot in. Okay, there wasn't much pressure on it with Robert needing 4 snookers, but you still got to knock them in. A little trick shot, but this time Robert stays in his seat. And
John Higgins 1. And
he signals to Brendan Moore, the referee, that he's had enough, and just the start that John Higgins was looking for. He takes the opening frame. It's 1-0 to the Scot.
And welcome to our Sheffield Winter Garden studio once again. John and Steve, we've been watching this and we've been saying to ourselves, why can't John Higgins win a 5th world title?
Well, he certainly found some form with that winning the Welsh, and I watched most of that on TV, particularly in the final. He was very impressive. His scoring was really good. Stephen made a good point in the commentary box earlier, talking about sometimes he misses the odd one. Also, it tends to be a long game where you lose it a little bit as you get a bit older, but you know, in amongst the balls when he played in Wales, he was very good.
I was reading some quotes from him the other day, and he was saying that as he's got older, he's found it increasingly more difficult to keep the mental side of the game going, to concentrate for the requisite long periods of time. Do you identify with that as well, Steve?
I've got to say, that is a big problem with all players. You don't realise it's happening to you, but actually you do slowly start to lose concentration as you get older. I think that's probably a natural part of it. But I mean, he still is such a force within the game, as we've seen how well he's made what was a difficult sort of opening part of that frame, and made a clearance from it, or made a break from it. But amazing to think that the likes of John Higgins and perhaps even Ding Junhui for this year are effectively like dark horses.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. They are very long-priced with the bookmakers, and, well, John Higgins has made a habit of setting the odds in terms of his winning abilities, and he could, if he were to pull this off, join the likes of you, Steve, Stephen Hendry, Ray Reardon, Ronnie O'Sullivan, to win 5 titles at the Crucible. It's quite a target as we head back to frame 2.
Yeah, it certainly is quite a target, and they're all chasing Stephen Hendry's 7 world titles. That's the big question as to whether Ronnie O'Sullivan could equal it or even surpass it. Only time will tell. But make no mistake, John Higgins, he'll be thinking that there's another world title left in him. Now, this could be a possible plant. John never even looked at that. He just played the safety shot down the table. It's not in a direct line, but it could be made. And looking at the way he would have to hit the first red, he might finish on the black or pink if he was to pull the plant off. Yeah, he's not going to play the red. He's just making sure where he would have to hit it. Be no good knocking the red in with the other red, would it? Just picking the spot where he was going to hit the first red. He was looking at the spot on the cushion. So can he pull this off? Can he get on the pink or black? He can do both.
Yeah, as we watched that, as you said, John, a little bit careless not to consider that as an option for Robert.
How about Milkins 1?
Well, he just held his hand up just to apologise for getting away with that, because you know, once he missed the black, he felt he was going to leave something easy for John, and just held his hand up to apologise. But a little bit of a nervy one, that, so he hasn't quite settled.
Very clean pot, that one. His long games look very impressive so far. I know it's whirling in the second frame, but it fills you with confidence when you knock those in. And he could not have hit that any better. Very unlucky not to land on something. You can tell by his reaction that he isn't on anything. Well, certainly not anything easy anyway.
Well, that's quite amazing how he hasn't finished on an easy red. This red will pass the green, but the way he hit that last shot, couldn't have played it any better, as you said, Stephen. So he's got to squeeze this past the green. I think there's enough room for it to go into that right corner. Plenty of room, as you can see. And nicely played.
7.
Watch out, there's a wizard about. How still does he keep his head on the shot? It's one of the secrets. I know there's some great players that have movement and that, but John keeps that head perfectly still.
$19. $20. $26. $27.
Thought he may have taken the opportunity to cannon into the 4 reds on the right cushion.
34. $35.
You can see the referee there just keeping a beady eye on John, just that he didn't foul one of the reds.
42.
With his cuff. Brendan Moore from Sheffield. And one of our top referees for
43.
quite some time now. But this is very impressive stuff from John Higgins. And I think we go back to Stephen. I think it was Graham Dott that John said spotted that maybe he was pulling the cue too far back and just try shortening the
50.
backswing. And I think he did work on that. And, you know, it really has revived John, I think. It's only a small thing, but it's
51.
certainly worked for him, you know, winning that Welsh Open. And as you said, back playing as well as he'd ever done. So he's doing very well in this second frame here.
$58. $59.
Just needs a colour and one more red, and he should be okay without risking a cannon. He's got an angle on the blue, but with only needing that one more red, might just try and drop on it.
$64.
Snooker's required from
65.
Robert. He hasn't really had a chance yet. He hasn't been in the balls. That makes absolutely certain of this second frame.
$72. John Higgins, 72.
Well, that 72 break, you would feel, is more than enough to give John this second frame. Robert carrying on. Don't blame him, just to get a bit of table time.
One. Eight. Nine. $16.
Well, this will settle Robert down somewhat, knocking these balls in.
$24.
Three 4-point snookers required to tie at the moment. Now he knocked a long red in to clinch the opening frame. Can he do the same here? I'll call that one a wide. Bit early to be puffing the old cheeks out, John. Just talking about those 4 wins that John had were all between 2003 and 2011. But the last 4 meetings, Roberts won all of those. But I think this is a different kettle of fish altogether here in this opening round at the Crucible. John Higgins looks up for it. He was in the Champions Lounge earlier with his good friend Stephen Maguire, very, very relaxed, having a bit of fun. Great effort. Easy to escape from, though. Just got to be careful he doesn't hit the red and go in off into that corner pocket. I'm sure he can see enough down the left side of the table. That's the easiest way to get out of the snooker. You might have to bend it a little bit. There you can see him swerving slightly. Well, not the in off that I mentioned. Oh, the side kept it out. See, the balls are in pretty good positions for snookers. The only thing is your opponent can put you in a snooker.
Yeah, there wouldn't be many more tougher players in the game to try and get 2 or 3 snookers against. Tremendous knowledge of the table, John Higgins. Red cuts to the left centre.
Oh, he played the snooker. I thought he tried the pot there. Bit lucky there.
Yeah, but mildly irritated with that. He's playing so well at the moment. He'll want to get the frames over and get into the next frame.
Well, there you go. There's another long pot from John Higgins. And he is going to be a handful for Robert Milkins, because if he's knocking them type of pots in with his all-round game, it's going to be a tough afternoon for Robert Milkins. 2 played and 2 behind. This match will be played to a finish tomorrow evening. Some of the matches are played in one day in the opening round, some over 2 days. But you never really feel your World Championship starts till you get to the 3 sessions in the next round. So if a player is vulnerable, it's in the opening match, even though it's the best of 19.
14. 19.
Doesn't matter about missing the long pink. It's been the best possible start for the 4 times former champion John Higgins. 2 played, 2 in front.
And it's worth a quick peek at the world rankings right now coming into the Crucible. You'll see Rob Milkins there at world number 17. And at 13, John Higgins is there. Now, Michael White at number 16. This is an interesting tale because normally Michael would have qualified by right, the young Welshman who won the Indian Open in a breakthrough victory earlier this season. But because Ali Carter has been gifted the 13th seed place here, and that was a move that has been very well welcomed after 2 years of battling cancer to really try and kickstart his career once again. Ali is here as one of the seeds. Michael White had to go into qualifying, didn't make it here. Rob Milkins too had to come through 3 best of 19 matches, even though he was only 2 places shy of the automatic qualification places. So, Steve, I know you were also in the qualifying. It was a pretty brutal qualifying process this time around, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, and it obviously appears very unfair that players that in the past have known that there was sort of a certain amount of protection in the game, all of a sudden basically have had that all taken away, but the top 16 still have that protection as far as going through into the event. To offset that, now we're a prize money structure, the players who are in the top 16, if they don't win their first match here at the Crucible, the prize money they do get doesn't go towards their ranking points. So there is some sort of balance, but it's still, you'd rather be at the Crucible and have to play 3 tough matches.
Absolutely. The times are changing, and it's certainly lent an extra degree of intrigue and fascination in the build-up. Back we go.
John didn't want to risk trying to get back down the table there, and he's pushed that red out. If it's dead straight, Robert might have a go at this up into the corner pocket. All depends on the angle. He may not have the angle to take it on. May pot to the middle pocket. Yeah, it will go, and he looks good to me. So one more good shot and he could give himself his first real chance. Good opening red, that. Well, you've got to make sure the blue, that's the most important part when you're playing that. The only good thing from his point of view is he's knocked the black safe, the pink safe, and he's knocked the blue awkward. But he seemed to get down and rush that a little bit.
Yeah, that's the way he plays the game, isn't it? Right, sort of inspirational player. Well, I don't know what happened there.
I think he hit the wrong red, did he, Stephen?
Well, obviously the red goes, but he just completely mishit it.
Yeah, he hit the right red, he just knocked it onto the other one. It's gone a bit scrappy so early in the frame with those high valued colours off their spots and awkward. And you never really settle. We keep saying you never really settle till you get your first frame on the scoreboard, and he's going to have to do a bit of battling here, Robert, after missing that blue. Because even if you get a chance, there's very little available. That really has tied things up, just flicking the blue onto the cushion, so there'll be some clearance from here. I think he had an eye on a possible plant there, and then he's changed his mind. Well, let's help the black. Let's open the black up. This would be a confidence booster. If he hits this correctly, he'll find a path back down the table. But he didn't hit it correctly. Still looks a bit edgy, Robert. Didn't get anywhere near the pot. John might be able to flick the pink into play here. I'm not sure if he can avoid canning the black. And he couldn't.
One.
Yellow looks a bit straight, so I think we're taking the brown on. And he's back to the yellow again.
Yellow.
Needs to cue this well. He cued it very well. I can't strike it much better than that.
Especially with his hand on the cushion. He couldn't put his hand on the bed of the table there. That was the best shot in the match so far, that one without a doubt. And with the black open,
four.
He'd love to get on the red to the left of the black spot area. No use just getting on the black, knocking it in. It would tie it up with that red there. He's having a glance to see if he can get through to that, just weighing it up. There's a couple of reds he can drop on here. And he's got lots of side on that. He's got the other one just above the black spot, but
seven.
He was playing to get on the one just to the left of the black spot, which would have definitely been more helpful to him.
Yeah, I think he's still going to play this red. Just a little bit left-hand side for the black.
Eight.
We always used to say, Stephen, that John Higgins is one of the best snooker brains in the game. Okay, he's been struggling for a few seasons, but he's getting back to the form that give him those 4 world titles. You never forget how to play the game, do you?
I think one of the strongest points of his game, I mean, we always talk about his safety play in his all-round game, but in the balls he's a ferocious scorer when he gets going. He's underhit that one though.
50.
So another tricky pot required to keep this break going. Just play off a couple of cushions for choice of brown or yellow probably.
Not a good sign for Robert sitting like that so early on in this match. Got to keep yourself
16.
focused, sit up straight in your seat and just wait for your chance. You don't want to be slumping down in the chair, that's better.
Oh, he's got a nice angle in the green. If he chooses, he can go into the 5 reds here. Nice. Choosing to play for the red above the black this time. Slightly worrying times for Robert Milkins so early in this match. He's missed a black off his spot in the second frame, a blue off his spot in this frame. And John's very capable of steamrolling his opponents. Great front runner.
That's a pretty good putt success rate, 94%. You mentioned he was a ferocious scorer. He's made 580 century breaks. There's only 2 players ahead of him. That's Ronnie O'Sullivan and Stephen Hendry. But once again, he's having to work very hard for these because, as I mentioned, the 3 high-valued colours were tied up for quite a while, but the fact that he's got the black on its spot gives him a glimmer of hope of possibly winning the frame at this visit, but he's got quite a bit of work to do.
Positional shot there. That's off top left-hand side. We're looking for an angle here. Probably the brown. It's come too far for the brown, so the green cannon into the 4 reds. Just off the side cushion with a touch of right-hand side.
That's what he's looking at, Stephen mentioned. That's pretty good. In fact, it's more than good.
35.
He's opened all the 4 reds up.
$36.
He'll be very happy with the way he's striking the cue ball. As I said earlier, coming into the World Championship with a win behind you gives you great confidence and really makes you look forward to the World Championships. He really is hitting the cue ball very well at the moment.
43.
Not been put under any pressure yet, but still, you don't allow your player to the table.
Yeah, the blue that he missed when he crashed into the reds was a very telling mistake. Make no mistake, John Higgins won't give an inch, as all the top players.
51.
When you've got your opponent under a bit of pressure, you keep them there.
52.
Well, 200 points against 39. That's the story of the match so far. Just this red needed, and once again, Robert will be at the snooker's required stage.
59.
A lot to think about.
$60.
Bit unlucky not to get the cannon, but he's not doing much wrong at the moment. This time Robert stays in his seat. So John Higgins marches on. He's played 3 frames and he's won all 3 of them. It's 3-0.
Yes, Higgins with the upper hand here, 3-0. Now, Steve Davis, eagle-eyed as ever. You've noticed something about his cue action here, haven't you, Steve?
Yeah, it's not as different. It's actually the same. I'll explain. I'll just go to the table. 1 second. A little thing for club players. Obviously, some shots are difficult, some shots are easy. But when you look at John Higgins, every time he sets up for the shot, it's exactly the same setup. He's got... wrong teeth in here. OK, here we are. He's at the ball. He approaches the table. He's at the ball. Now, if it's a difficult shot, some players in the club's going, oh, it's a difficult shot. OK, easy shot, they're perhaps a bit more relaxed. Every time John Higgins comes to the table, he's got the same routine. 1, 2, 3, pull back, hit. He does that so often that it's so automatic that when he comes to a pressure shot, his body remembers it's so automatic and he just delivers the cue. If you can do that in a club, repeat every time, you'll be a better player.
As always, Steve, very interesting Davis there. Now, can Robert knock this in? It's a free shot, he'd be on the black. No, he's a long way off. He just hasn't settled. He's never going to leave much, but you want to be getting a bit closer than that. That's just caused by the fact that he hasn't had any table time. As I say, he would have psyched himself up for this match. He's won 3 matches to qualify here. Beat Andrew Higginson on a deciding frame. He did well to beat Andrew. Now that is a bit more like it. Now, the shot in the previous frame was the other side of the table and he missed the blue. He just got down and didn't put everything into the positional side of it and missed the pot. Now he's looking at what he's going to do with the cue ball, but make sure you get the blue this time, Robert. And he didn't want to risk smashing into them that time because of what happened the previous time and put everything into the pot and forgot about the cue ball.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of distance between the pink and the pack. That's why he didn't play that shot, but a delicate little cannon. He was a little bit unlucky.
Robert Milkins 6.
Just has to try and keep his concentration. They want this frame badly, Robert Milkins. They want to go to the first interval 4-0 down.
Yeah, over these long matches, you set yourself a target of playing like mini sessions of 4 frames, so you have it in the back of your mind. It would be nice if I could win the session 3-1. I mean, if he won 4-0, it's a bonus, but I don't think Robert would enjoy his mid-session interval. He lost all 4, so he'll be putting everything into this frame. He can't get the other reds in the way to make that plant. That's pretty good. He can only see 1 red, John Higgins. Okay, he could take the pot on, but where would the cue ball finish? It would cannon into the red as we show you. Just spin around, you can see that's what he's looking at. If he takes that pot on, you'd think he'd cannon the red near the cushion. He might be on the pink, you know.
1.
He knew he was going to cannon that. If he's not on the pink, he's a bit unlucky because the red that he cannoned into, we'll show you it again. He knew he was going to do that and he thought, I might be able to get on the black here, but the red knocked the black away. It's tight.
John Higgins 1.
It was obviously too tight, but have a look where the cue ball's finished. I think Robert will be a little aggrieved, because once John missed the pink, Robert felt, well, I'm going to be on a nice red. This is not easy. If it's dead straight, well, there's a slight angle, and as you can see, the black will go into the middle pocket there.
One.
A lot better shot than it looked, that. You have to cue those very well. There's a black to the right centre, but he's got an angle to follow the cue ball into the reds. We did have.
Eight.
Decent shot, that. Unlucky not to have anything easier. Obviously this red pot's the one above the black. Obviously wouldn't have the rest out, so it's just a delicate little shot to finish on a colour. I could say that's end of break.
9. Yellow. Yellow ball. Robert Milkins 9.
It's all very tight in the Crucible when you've got the two tables, you know. You got the referee, two players, have to avoid each other. That's the magnificent Crucible Theatre with that curtain in between the two tables. You can see how close the crowd are. You can hear everything that's happening next door. It's the sort of thing you put to the back of your mind. They're just in between frames, so you just got to concentrate and forget what's happening on the next table. And that's a little beauty he's pulled out there. In fact, he's hit it too well. Give him a little bit of confidence the way he hit that. You're going to have to do all the scoring now on the blue, you would feel.
Six.
He's finished straight, so not good. That could be the end of break. He can only get 5 points, but he can't get on a red. Let's have a look. You see he's the wrong side there, whichever way you look at it. Just try and get in behind the pink now.
A
little bit of right hand side. We'll swing it around the angles.
Robert Milkins 11.
Very well played indeed. John just tapping the table there because he's opened the reds and perfectly judged with the cue ball there. And John having a look to see if there's any he can land on. He can't really get to that red that's to the right of the black to nestle on that, and they're all spread around, so He's going to need a little glancing shot to get back up the table here. This can go wrong, that's for sure. Maybe he can just get to that red I mentioned. Well, he's had the glancing blow, but I think he's stuck them up here. He was in a pretty terrible situation there, John. All caused by that terrific safety shot from Robert.
One. Six. Seven.
Nicely struck. Screw shot there. Now he's got a good angle in the blue. So I'd be pretty disappointed if he couldn't win this fourth frame from here. May have to play a little cannon on the two reds near the pink spot, just to stop the pace of the cue ball. Well, he didn't choose to do that. He's played for the one, the black cushion.
12.
Three reds all popped to the right corner, so pretty straightforward positional shot here. That's pretty good. Just wants a nice angle to go back up for the blue.
18.
Well, he's done well here. I mean, it's a frame, as we said, he badly needed. Okay, it's the first to 10, but to lose all four, well, certainly wasn't what he was after. But yeah, it's the milkman starting to deliver here. That's what he's introduced as, Robert
24.
Milkman Wilkins.
25.
Just this red, and Robert will be able to settle down. Yeah, well played.
31.
Well, two people in the audience agreed with me. So he will enjoy his cup of tea at the mid-session interval, that's for sure. But John Higgins will be pleasantly delighted with his form. He had breaks of 41, 72 and 64. But there's a long way to go in this match. And
37.
as we know, the mid-session interval can change things around. Makes it all very interesting indeed.
$42. 43.
Easy blue to the yellow pocket.
Wasn't all that easy, so John Higgins signals to the referee, and now Robert Milkins can settle down a bit and enjoy his mid-session interval. It's been a tough old session so far. 3-1 to John Higgins.
Yes, then it's made even tougher for Rob Milkins by the fact that he was sitting there looking at a 3-0 lead. And we asked right early this morning whether coming through 3 qualifying matches was going to make sure that you had momentum, or whether it was going to feel like you'd fallen off a cliff, John, in terms of fatigue.
And one of those things you're not going to be able to answer till you actually come out into the auditorium. It's a good point. I suppose, you know, maybe if you win a match 10-9, you come through and you look like you're going to go out, you'll have all the euphoria. Just the fact you've qualified will be great. You come into the Crucible. But I take the point. I mean, it could be that if you had 2 or 3 of those on the way here, it might take too much out of you.
I know he finished late on Wednesday night. I think he dashed home to see the family and then dashed all the way back here. It's been a really frantic build-up for this opening day for him.
Yes, and there is the argument that possibly you need a couple more days than just 2 to sort of just come down a bit and just get prepared again. So yeah, perhaps everybody in looking at the draw when we made it on Thursday morning was hoping Monday or Tuesday to play. Sean Murphy doesn't play till the last day of the, so he had the chance to play on our golf day that we had before the draw went out. But some of the players really were sort of like wondering where they were going to get their laundry done.
Exactly. But as for his season as a whole, it's been a pretty healthy season for Rob Milkins. He's got a good number of quarterfinals, semi-finals, and in fact, at the China Open just a couple of weeks ago, he had his qualification in his own hands. He was in a quarterfinal up against Mark Selby, lost it, and that consigned him to the qualifying process for Sheffield. But he really has been a very game player all season.
Yeah, what's improved is his tactical side of it. We've always known he could pop balls. He's a very clean pot. You've seen that, a lot of evidence of that. Single balls, a lot of really good clean pots in that frame. But his safety play is the thing that's impressed me. When he beat Neil Robertson, his tactical play in that game was very good. You've got to beat Robertson. He's too good a player. And that's where he's improved. And he's matured as a player over the last couple of seasons. And I was a little bit surprised to see that record, because if there's one player on the circuit you think would be tailor-made for him the way he used to play, was John Higgins, and he's won the last 4 times he played. That shows you how much he's improved in the tactical side of it. It does, and you make a very good point. It was a few years ago that he came here in round 1 and he knocked Neil Robertson, the Australian, one of the favourites, former world champion, out in the first round. And it was almost a validation for his career, wasn't it, Steve, after going through some years of real turmoil in the sport and away from it?
Yes, certainly, and I think for many people they would have thought perhaps he's a journeyman, a very talented journeyman, but I think all of a sudden he's pushed through that barrier. He's now respected as a player. No fuss player, just gets on with it, and in that respect gives himself the best chance to play well. But sometimes deceptively talented, if it can be said that way. It's very hard to explain, but you don't necessarily put him in the bracket of a Ronnie O'Sullivan or a John Higgins, if you're looking at where natural ability is given. But because he's a bit no fuss, and he makes light of some of the difficult shots, you don't think there's anything special about them, but he's very, very talented. OK, well, he's got a lot to do, but at least he's got a frame on the board in this opening match for Rob Milkins. Now, I've been talking about some of the celebrity snooker watchers that we've been catching up with over the last couple of weeks. We've given them a chance to not only have their say, but to actually go for glory against Steve and John. Now, they did have a chance to play. Some of them opted to do so, and some of them were quite happy with a chat, a cup of tea. But who is our first celebrity snooker player? Let's find out with John.
Well, our guest this afternoon is someone who played for 6 different league football clubs, played 39 times for Wales. Can you guess who it is yet? It is, in fact, Mr. Robbie Savage. Absolutely brilliant to have you here.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
And a snooker aficionado. You're into your snooker, aren't you?
I used to play a lot when I was at Crewe. I used to finish training and drive to my local Gresford Colliery Club and play with all my pals. And my biggest break was 72, but I haven't played for a while now.
Well, that's very good, though, 72. Do you want to break off?
Yeah?
Yeah, off you go, yeah. We've got a tournament table as well, so it's going to be... Look at that. Look at the action. Hit the blue. Nearly all right. Nearly all right. Not so bad at all.
Right, Robbie. Now, this style, when you were a player, I think we can probably safely describe it as all action. Would that be right?
Yeah, well, I wasn't technically the best, but what I'd done was, by most managers, they told me to do what I was good at, and I changed as a player, because when I was in the youth team at United, it was more technical, but I had to adapt my game because I realised I wasn't the quickest, I wasn't the strongest. So it was Martin O'Neill really who made me the player I was, and I used to get stuck in and wind people up, and I loved the booing. When people used to boo me, I used to love it.
It's all right, I've done it. Don't worry.
We were looking at it, and there were a few yellow cards in your time. Were you just fashionably late?
But I'd get booked in games sometimes. To get myself going. If it was 20 minutes in and I wasn't getting a touch of the ball or not having an impact on the game, I would go and intentionally get booked to get the crowd going, to get myself going. Because 89 yellow cards, I'm only 1 red, so I knew where the line was.
Oh, I don't believe it. Had a fluke. Come on.
It was awkward. And my father used to play on a Tuesday in the local leagues, and I used to go around and watch my dad everywhere. My dad was a good snooker player, and that's where I got it from, really. So you know, to pass the time away, you know, with your mates on a snooker table was great. And
The thing is, as well, you also Friday nights you'd be away games, wouldn't you? You'd be in hotels, a lot of time there. So some good lads to play against.
Yeah, you know, the snooker pool. It's just it passes the time because a frame when you have my standard can take a couple of hours.
No, I think you're a bit better than that. Go on, see if you can put the black in then. Oh, he's played. He knows what he's doing.
All right,
Very
John.
good.
Definitely, yeah.
Very good.
Of those that you used to watch, or indeed still watch, Robbie, whose style do you admire at a table, and who would you most like to kind of emulate in that regard?
At a snooker table?
Yeah.
Well, Ronnie O'Sullivan. I just think that to watch him play with his right hand and then his left hand, and he can knock centuries in with ball, that's just incredible.
No.
You know, when I watch football on the TV and I see Roy Keane as a pundit and you're thinking, what's he going to say next? I think when you hear Ronnie in an interview afterwards, you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. You know, it's just edge-of-the-seat stuff when he plays and in interviews. I think he's brilliant, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
What was it like doing Strictly Come Dancing for you?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was... and that's one of the reasons why I retired.
Yeah?
Because, you know, I was approaching my 37th birthday and I thought, do I go down to, you know, a lower league club? Because the Championship was low enough.
Yeah. Because you finished at Derby, didn't you?
Finished at Derby in the Championship under Nigel Clough, you know, great footballing family. And I just thought, you know, do I want to go and play in the lower leagues? At 37, get kicked everywhere.
Well, that's the other thing as well. You'd be seen as that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you know, people would want to kick me instead of me trying to kick better players than me. So I just thought with Strictly, it gave me a focus, because the worst thing when you retire is the day-to-day stuff and the dressing room banter and Strictly give me that, you know, with a group of people, and you felt part of another thing. You had you know, when you retire, it's so difficult to adapt.
Tricky black, this tournament table. Well, it was tricky. Fantastic part. I love the position as well, by the way. Very nice. This is looking good. Do you think Wales will ever qualify for the World Cup?
It's going to be very difficult, I think. I think they have to keep Gareth Bale fit. Who's getting a bit of stick at, you know, at Real. The European Championships this time is the best opportunity, I think. They've got a good squad.
And it's top punditry like that has earned this man not just a Rising Star award, but, wait for this, a Plain English award.
Incredibly.
What was this?
I don't know what it meant. I have no idea, to be honest. I just got awarded it. I still don't know what it means.
You've been in this business in terms of the media for, what, 4 years now, Robert?
Yeah, 4 years, yeah.
How much do you enjoy it? What do you enjoy about the media side of it?
I just love it, you know, going to games. I'm not afraid to criticise people if I think it's right. I don't do it intentionally. I've fallen out with a few people, you know, after the match of the day, because everybody watches match of the day, and my media career probably outweighs myself as a footballer, because when growing up you think the top players would be a pundit on match of the day.
Yeah.
So to get on there as a pundit goes to show if you work hard and you have an opinion, you've got a chance.
Okay. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure. We've run out of time with you.
Cheers,
Thanks for coming in and giving all your opinions and everything, and good luck with the rest of what you carry on with.
Thank you.
And I shall be listening intently.
Oh yes, we really enjoyed that frame with Robbie Savage. Top breaker 72, very, very good player is our Robbie, and we always look forward to seeing him on Match of the Day. Well, we've been watching one Scot and John Higgins here today. There are another two Scots out in the arena this afternoon. One of them is a former semi-finalist here. In fact, he's reached the semis at the Crucible twice before, most recently 3 years ago. But since then, he's gone out in round one to Pumjang and to Ryan Day last year. He's very thankful to be here, actually, and he actually owes Mark Selby, the defending champion, a drink, because Mark's defeat of Rob Milkins in the China Open a couple of weeks ago meant that he automatically qualified, did Stephen Maguire, and isn't he very relieved about that? And Stephen is playing a man for whom he's been something of a mentor over the last few years. He's a practice partner at least. He's Anthony McGill, 24-year-old from Glasgow, who's long been touted as the next big thing in snooker from Scotland. Now, he makes his debut in the main event this afternoon, but it's not the first time he's played at the Crucible, because look at this. This is 8 years ago in the final of Junior Pot Black. It was a one-frame shootout against Stuart Carrington. Sadly for Anthony, he lost this one, but it gave him a real taste for more. Stuart Carrington, incidentally, also makes his debut this year, and he's going to be facing Judd Trump earlier in the week. Both have changed considerably, and it was a very nervy occasion when they met in 2006, but great to see them come through the ranks and now make their appearance for real at the Crucible. And in fact, it was a very good start from Anthony this afternoon. Knocked in a break of 92 in the opening frame to take that. Stephen Maguire hit back with a 62, so it's one frame apiece as we get into frame 3. McGill slightly ahead, and it's Willie Thorne and Ken Doherty with eyes on this.
Well, you can see his disgust there, getting no reaction out of the cue ball, though. He's played to screw back into balk. Let's have a little look at this shot to see if we can see the kick on the white. He's playing to screw back into balk. No reaction whatsoever out of the cue ball. He just looked up to the commentary box in disgust.
One.
Would like to have been straight on this pink, so you could just roll through and take a couple of those reds into the left-hand side.
Six. Seven.
Just play this with a little bit of check side, just to straighten it up for the red just above the black spot. There's the white just checking up, you see, and straightening up. Obviously you won't have any aspirations of taking the black, of course. He'll be playing on pink or blue. And if he can get himself 40 odd points in front before he has to worry about moving those four reds behind the black spot, he'll be pretty happy.
13. Nineteen.
Could have done with that 2 inches further to the right, so he could either play for the two reds in the opposite corner or just to screw back for the ready. That's the only option he's got now, just to screw back. But it needs a good angle on this next red. Yeah, he's got that now, well played. It's essential this time to get some sort of angle on the pink, because the only two reds that are available now are the two reds that are virtually together, but they're both pot in the right-hand corner.
27.
Oh, that's excellent. He couldn't have played that better if he picked it up by hand. To the inch. Nothing to do with the cue ball there. He played the shot so well.
$33.
See him just doing a little bit of mental arithmetic there. He's 43 points in front. He's just thinking whether he can get over the line with 2 reds and 2 colours, and that's not going to be the case. So he's going to need 3 reds, 3 colours. The next 2 look okay, but where's the third one coming from?
34.
Wouldn't be a bad idea to hold the spot here and get the pink on the black spot. That would make it a lot easier to get onto the ones that are below the black there, but not got that angle. Didn't hold the spot.
Yes, and all the while he's building a nice lead. 50 points in the lead now. Red, pink, 57. And then he can just try and get onto that loose red over to the right-hand side of the table and maybe drop behind it. A nice little angle on this pink. Just stun across. You could play this for the middle or the bottom corner or even up into the yellow pocket. Just stun anywhere in behind this red. Of course, he'll only need the red and any colour. That looks pretty good. Excellent shot. Very, very good. Very well controlled.
Got all the shots, hasn't he? I've not seen too much of him. I've seen him play a couple of times on television. This is the first time I've had the pleasure of commentating on him, and he looks to have every shot in the book. And looks to have a pretty good temperament, so he's the real deal, this boy. We were taking the cannon on here with the yellow being off its spot. Just play 2 cushions over the yellow spot and try and bring these 4 reds into play. It's pretty good. Deserves to be on one with the way he played that. Unlucky. He's smiling.
53.
You wouldn't have thought it possible playing into those 4 reds at that pace that you wouldn't be on one. And of course, only 63 points in it with 59 on. Maguire only needs 1 snooker to tie. So a break of 92 in the first frame, an excellent break of 53 there, and barring snookers, Anthony McGill will take a 2-1 lead.
Well, they did play on for another 10 minutes or so, but to no avail from Maguire's standpoint. So McGill took a 2-1 lead, and in fact they're just finishing off frame 4 as I look just now, and it looks as though McGill is just about over the line and could go in with a 3-1 lead at their interval. So as one match goes to its interval, another returns very shortly, and we've been watching Messrs Higgins and of course Milkins. 3-1 up is John Higgins, and we're going straight back to Dennis Taylor and Stephen Hendry.
Thank you very much, Hazel. And will
Thank you, frame 5.
Session interval change things around. Pretty good length with the break-off shot. But if there's enough angle in this, John can have a go at this red. He could finish on the black. The only possible red he could leave is the one he's having a go at. No, it wasn't the angle, so no value in it. And straight away that's made things a little awkward with the red heading up to the bulk end of the table. Seemed to kick, and look, while he throws his arms up, look where the red is finished. That's all you need. Let's have a look at this. Well, that really did kick viciously there. Amazing how that red's come back and finished absolutely perfect for John.
One.
And key shot coming up early on. Well, just got up. He was just going to get down, pot the black, and go straight into the reds with plenty of bottom. And then he's had a little think about it just to find out exactly what he can do. So he's a change of plan here. And once again, he's changing his mind. Well, he decided he's going to wait for a better chance to go into the bunch.
8.
Nine.
Pink obviously goes. He's going to need a little cannon if he takes that on. He's back looking at the blue now. And this is much more difficult to go into the reds than it was from the black. So let's see if he can pull it off. Looks good. Oh, it's stuck on the black. He still might have won to the left middle, but he couldn't have played it much better, Stephen, could he?
40.
No, lots of top and left hand side in between the yellow and brown. A sarcastic nod of the head when he finished where he did. Just struggling to get that cue ball on a string at the moment.
He's a bit fortunate though, isn't he? Once he cannoned the yellow, I was looking at Robert in the seat. He just was shaking his head when he seen where they finished, because he can pot this and get back up to the reds. He won't go in the right middle pocket, I don't think. Might have covered
17.
everything here, so a bit of a reprieve from as to whether he can pot anything. Not a 3-ball plant when you run out of position. Well, if this goes in, Robert will be shaking his head. There you can see it's just going slightly to the left of the pocket. He can make this. You had the perfect picture there. Let's see if he can squeeze this in. No. Well, that's a bad misjudgment from John.
70.
the first red, he just didn't get it anywhere near where he wanted.
These are situations where Robert really has to punish John for those mistakes if he's going to have a chance to win this match.
Eight. Nine.
Don't know if he's hit that hard enough. I think he's hampered with the blue to play the black. That's why he's looking at the pink to the left centre. These are missable. That's poor from Robert Milkins. That was a pretty easy opportunity there to get right back into this frame. Careless positional shot for the black. And instead of making John Higgins suffer for his mistake, John will now have forgotten completely about what he did last visit at the table. Such a psychological game, Dennison, at this level.
One.
Yeah, you got it absolutely right there, because Robert knows he should have kept John sitting in his seat. And he had every chance of the mid-session interval turning things around, but that was a bad miss on the pink. Not going right in the heart of the pocket. I think he was concentrating on the position there and just took his eye slightly off that last black. And 9 frames to be played in this session, and a possible, well, it's played to the finish tomorrow evening, so how many frames will John need? That's the question.
Well, John, 3-1 up at the interval. We'll be looking at least 6-3 ahead after this session. 7-2 is what we'll be after, but at least 6-3. Although these are long matches at the Crucible, these first rounds best of 19, you can effectively win them in the first session.
25.
That's what the top players are always thinking.
$32. $33. $40.
Yeah, I think when John Higgins missed that fairly comfortable plant, a total misjudgment, I think he would have went back to his seat and he would have felt, well, I could lose this frame here. But he was let off the hook, and now He's firmly in the driving seat to extend his lead to 4-1. A lot for Robert to think about there. Yeah, I still expected him to knock the pink in.
It was made more difficult, wasn't it? Because he knew he should have been on an easy black. So at the back of his mind, it was the wrong shot to be playing.
46.
Frame well and truly over now. Just a matter of trying to clear these remaining balls up. It doesn't matter if he misses one.
55.
So it's a pretty good start, and I thought the mid-session interval might just turn things around, but Robert Milkins didn't take advantage of that easy plant that John missed. So there's still a long way to go, but 9 frames to be played in this session. He needs another couple, you would feel. As I say, it doesn't matter about missing. Robert stays in his seat, and John Higgins marches on. He's taken the frame after the mid-session interval, and he leads 4-1.
And he looks rather comfortable at this stage. And I just wonder how important a margin like this is in the early stages, particularly as you were referring to earlier, Steve, in a match that is only 2 sessions. There's not much room for error in that, is there?
No, it can be important in as much as all of a sudden your opponent can completely freeze. And you've got a chance, as Stephen Hendry said, of building up a substantial lead that then the other guy just can't come back from. And that's what you're looking for in that first session, if you get the chance.
Did you feel more vulnerable in the 2-session rather than the 3-session matches when you got to round 2?
Well, simply, you know it's round 1. I mean, it's the one place you do not want to get beat is round 1, so you knew that anyway. So the two things sort of go hand in glove. But the one thing Robert Milkins cannot do is miss straight pinks in the middle pocket when he's giving you a chance, because John Higgins won't. He won't give you 2 or 3 chances of frame. So for Robert to miss that pink in the middle, which was really simple, and to not, go 3-2, he's got himself 4-1 behind for missing a stupid pink.
OK, well, we've only got a few minutes left on BBC Two right now as we enjoy 1 or 2 shots from frame 6. So if you are planning to stay with the snooker, get your red button, get your online devices ready, because we'll be coming off the air at 4:30. Back we go.
Oh, close, but look where the red's gone. That's the thing. When you're struggling a little bit, you take that type of shot on, you never seem to get away with it. If you're playing well, you have a go at that, you miss it, goes safe. So an early chance for John Higgins. What's he got? He's got 4 or 5 reds that are available to him before he'd have to move anything.
Eight. Nine. $16.
I'll tell you what he hasn't done, Steve. I know it's early stages yet, but he hasn't missed any easy ones. We were talking about that, but he seems to be fully focused, John, here.
Yeah, it's amazing how over long matches, if you just don't miss any easy shots, how well you'll do. As you say, no real unforced errors yet from John Higgins. I said before, he hasn't been put under tremendous
24.
pressure yet, but he's looked pretty confident. Just a little stun through the gap here for the black. Well, in fact, he's played the cannon for 25. The pink, but if it's straight, it's not the best shot. He would have preferred an angle on the black. He just stuns through the gap with these two open reds. He's bound to have an angle on the black to go into the bunch. It's still okay. And where does the pink go if he pops it?
Yeah, it'll probably play up for the blue here. It'll have to go directly behind the bunch of reds in a line with the black and other colours, the brown and blue. And it's not a good pack to go into from the black, so if he gets nicely on the blue, he could give himself a chance to go on and take another frame. He's already 31 points in front. So imperative, 51. He gets a good angle on the blue here. There's still a red available at the back of the bunch. He doesn't necessarily have to do that. He's decided to play on the black and then on that red that I mentioned. But then he's got to get into the bunch, so not straightforward as he spots something on the cue ball.
And there, as I say, we're going to have to leave this. Higgins looking very good so far in this match, though, with that good advantage over Rob Milkins. And it's Anthony McGill at their interval with a 3-1 lead over Maguire. Now, the afternoon of live sport does continue on the BBC shortly with that match of the day, 5:05. It's the FA Cup semi-finals. First of them, Reading against Arsenal. It's on the air on BBC One in 35 minutes' time. But we're back on the evening session beat on the opening day of the World Championship here. Defending champion Mark Selby and Norway's Kurt Maflin complete their match this evening. Which of them will become the first man through to the second round? It'll start at 7 o'clock when you have the excellent company of Jason Mohammed on BBC Two. John, Steve and I will catch you again soon. Bye for now.
Results roundup next year on BBC